Hello, everybody. I am Jordan Rocco, and this is episode 2 of the World of Sports podcast. Today, we are talking about the NFL playoff divisional round. Saturday and Sunday were two crazy days for NFL football. First matchup we're going to talk about was the Patriots and Titans. This was the least exciting out of all four of the games this weekend. Everybody expected the Patriots to win, which was what happened. I mean, they're the reigning NFL Super Bowl champions, so you expect them to get to the AFC championship with ease, and they did that. The Titans started off the game with a touchdown for Marcus Mariota, but then the Patriots did what everybody expected, and that was advance to the AFC championship. Not too many things exciting happened in this game, but a notable stat was that this was Tom Brady's 10th career postseason game with at least 3 touchdown passes, which moved him past Joe Montana for the most in NFL history. James White, the Patriots' backup running back who was playing for the injured Rex Burkhead, had 2 touchdowns, 1 running and 1 receiving. After this loss on Monday, the Titans and Mike Mularkey, their head coach, mutually agreed to part ways. Personally, I do not believe this is a good move for the Titans since they were moving in the right direction by making the playoffs for the first time since 2008. But hopefully the Titans can get a better coach. Although Mularkey had a 20-21 record, he wasn't too bad of a coach. But if you're a Titans fan, all you can do is hope for a better chance next season. Now, let's get into the other matchup, and this one, it's a tough subject for me. I'm a Steelers fan, but the Jaguars advanced to the AFC Championship and will be facing the Patriots next week. They defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 45-42. This was the highest scoring NFL playoff game with a total of 87 points between both teams. Although I'm disappointed with the result, 87 points, just think about that. It was a good game. The Steelers were down 21-0 early in the game, but they came back, but they fell short. And I believe they fell short because of that onside kick decision. If you watch the game, you probably were scratching your head just like me. Really, an onside kick with 2 minutes left, that's what you're going to do? But I don't agree with the Steelers' front office. A lot of the plays they do with Todd Haley. Please, I hope he goes, honestly. Let us know in the comment section how you feel about this. I feel the next weeks will be interesting because I see that Todd Haley's been offered and I see that Steelers are in talks with other coaches. But at the end of the day, it's all rumors until something actually happens. But with 2 minutes left, the Steelers went for an onside kick, and the Jaguars recovered it and were already in field goal range. So on 4th down, they kicked the field goal, and the Steelers still fought by scoring a last-minute touchdown by Juju Smith-Schuster, but the damage was already done, and the Jaguars pulled off the upset in Heinz Field. I believe the reason why they won this game was the Jaguars' defense. Now, that they have something special. They had 2 turnovers on Big Ben. Telvin Smith, the Jaguars starting linebacker, had a heroic game with a total of 16 tackles and 1 fumble recovery returned for 48 yards for a touchdown. The Killer Bees still performed strong, but they were not enough. Ben Roethlisberger had 2 turnovers, 1 fumble, 1 interception. I just said he threw for 469 yards and 5 touchdowns. Antonio Brown returning for the first time in the past few weeks. He was injured during the season against the Patriots with, I forget exactly what the injury was, but he had an insane performance with 132 yards, 7 receptions, and 2 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns, that'd be insane. But Leonard Fournette was one of the stars for the Jaguars. He had 3 touchdowns, a hat trick, and 109 yards, while Le'Veon Bell had only 1 touchdown reception and 1 rushing touchdown for 67 yards. But the Steelers passed the ball while the Jaguars were rushing. And Blake Bortles was praised all over social media. I mean, I just saw all over Twitter, ESPN, that everybody was talking about how, he's the GOAT. He's still undefeated in the playoffs. He's only played in 2 games, but that's none of my business. But yeah, the Jaguars, they're going to the next round. Nobody expected that. I expected the Jaguars to be the best team in Florida, but I definitely did not expect them to be knocking off my favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. But as I say every single season, there's always next year. At least the Steelers still have a lot of moves to make, and we will be having a podcast soon talking about everything the Steelers have to do if they want to be a Super Bowl championship team. It'll be interesting next week between the Patriots and the Jaguars to see who will advance to the Super Bowl. I'm sure everybody's favorite is the Patriots, but who knows, the Jaguars, after what I saw against the Steelers, if they play like that and a little smarter, then they should be winning that game. Now let's go into the AFC. Both the Eagles and Vikings advanced this weekend. The Eagles defeated the Falcons 15-10. Last year, the Falcons made it to the Super Bowl. This year, they're going to be watching from home. Unlike the Steelers versus Jaguars, this was not a high-scoring game. Luckily for the Eagles, Nick Foles, who is the backup quarterback due to Carson Wentz tearing his ACL earlier this season, and he has been out for the whole season, Nick Foles wasn't too bad, and he was able to advance the Eagles the next round. He passed for 246 yards and completed 23 out of 30 passes, but had no touchdowns. The Eagles only scored one touchdown with LeGarrette Blount rushing 1 yard into the end zone. Jake Elliott, the rookie kicker, missed the extra point after the touchdown, but he made up for it by making 3 field goals, and the longest one was 53 yards. The Eagles were down by 1 going into the second half, but they didn't let that big deficit affect them, and they were able to overcome that. The Eagles showed they are still a strong team and still have a pretty strong defense without their star quarterback. I'm not sure that they're a championship team with Nick Foles, but you never know. Next week they'll see against the Vikings if they can make it to the Super Bowl. That would be good for the city of Philadelphia. Now, we have saved the best for last. The Vikings and Saints had a historic game, but what will be remembered is the ending of the game. The Vikings had a great first half with a 17-point lead. The score was 17-0 going into halftime. 2 of the Vikings touchdowns in the first half were rushing touchdowns from Jerick McKinnon, and they had 1 field goal from Kai Forbath. The Saints fought back a little to stay in it by not allowing the Vikings to score in the third quarter and by scoring a touchdown from Drew Brees, the veteran quarterback, who, although they lost and he had 2 interceptions, Drew Brees still is one of the best of all time, and it sucks that he couldn't win a Super Bowl this year because I feel that this was their best and most realistic chance. But you never know. There's always next year. Drew Brees is still a beast, and he's always going to go down as one of the best of all time. He passed to Michael Thomas for a 14-yard touchdown in the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter was when the Saints finally came into this game. They scored a total of 17 points in the fourth quarter. 17 points. They came back in this. Drew Brees threw another touchdown to Michael Thomas for 3 yards. In case you did not know, Michael Thomas is a Pro Bowl receiver. Michael Thomas is one of the best receivers in the league. But he had a 3-yard touchdown to begin their comeback late in the fourth quarter. The Saints then had a passing touchdown to the rookie phenom Alvin Kamara for 14 yards, which made the score 21-20. Saints up by 1, but the Vikings were able to get a field goal. And then after that, the Saints responded to their field goal with one of their own to put them up 24-23 with 25 seconds remaining. This is when, man, this is just such a crazy play. It's hard for me to even put it into words. Like, this is what I love about sports because you never know what is going to happen. And I feel this just shows that literally anything can happen at any time. If you have not seen it already, with almost no time left on the clock, Case Keenum threw a 61-yard touchdown to Stephon Diggs. 61 yards just to end off the game. This advanced the Vikings to the AFC Championship by winning 29-24. And in case you did not know, if the Vikings beat the Eagles next week, they'll be the home team in the Super Bowl since the Super Bowl will be in Minnesota. But the reason why Stephon Diggs scored that 61-yard touchdown was Marcus Williams, the rookie safety for the Saints, ducked instead of tackling Diggs, and it was poor coverage. And this is what Marcus Williams will be remembered for. He had a pretty good rookie season with 4 interceptions, but nobody's going to be like, oh, wow, it's Marcus Williams, the guy who had 4 interceptions and to the 2017 through 2018 season. But they're going to look at, wow, it's Marcus Williams, the guy who ruined the Saints' chances of going back to the Super Bowl. But that's how the NFL works. One play can literally ruin one team's season. But I have to say, after talking about all the matchups, this is very surprising for me because if you told me Blake Bortles, Case Keenum, and Nick Foles would be 3 of the 4 starting quarterbacks in the conference championship, I would tell you, you are out of your mind. But that's what's happening. And it's crazy to think that one of those 3 quarterbacks will be in the Super Bowl. But this year, just Case Keenum's had a miraculous season. Like, he's just been insane. He's a great quarterback coming from the Rams. It's crazy because just in 2017, it was Case Keenum and Nick Foles both playing for the Rams. Now they are both playing against each other in the NFC or the AFC Championship, excuse me. But make sure you continue to check out our podcast for more episodes. I will be doing more of these. I apologize for any of my speaking. This is my first time doing a podcast. I hope it was all right. But everybody continue to check out our podcast. Please subscribe and please check out our Twitter, TWS Podcast. I'm Jordan Rocco. I'll put all our information in the description. Make sure you check that out. But we hope that you are entertained and informed. And please keep on checking out our podcast. Take care.